welcome to the Fandom Flux podcast, episode 60.
Oh.
Yay! That's not really a milestone, but whatever.
Not really.
Sounds
impressive.
Yeah. I'm your host, KCW, and with me we have Slicer.
Hello.
Zero.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? And I ask this because you keep answering. And Resden is a cool guy who keeps responding. So kudos to you, Resden, setter of trends.
And Kenchi.
Hi, I'm Kenchi618. And what I do when I see someone pretty is I stare, I smile, and then when I get tired, I put the mirror down.
That was good. That was good.
That was pretty good.
You get tired holding a mirror.
I imagine you would eventually just create a harness so you can keep it in front of your face at all times.
But I need to see and do other things.
Well, you put it off to the side a little bit. You can just every time you need to look up.
Listen, if there was a mirror in my room, I would never get anything done.
I have a mirror in my room.
I don't. I can't have one in here. I'd never get anything done. I'd lose all the time at games. I'd never get anything done.
Okay, it has now been established that even when we have super special guests like our current super special guest, Tylertron, we cannot let Kenchi go before anyone else, ever. Just, not even now.
But actually, he could have his entire roof be a mirror, and then he can cheat at poker. He would always win.
And then everybody else could cheat at poker, because there's an entire room.
Yeah, that's kind of cool opportunity cheating.
Also, usually you have your cards on the table, and you just sort of...
Yeah, you, even if you have a mirror like that, you usually have your cards face down, and you just lift them up slightly to see. You can see with a mirror like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have a guest.
It's a good try. Yay! Because Tyler decided he wanted to donate and help support the podcast and stuff.
Better take my money.
He is now on the podcast. This is now living proof that we actually do totally fucking, go through with those Patreon awards. Because, we love you guys too. You're great stuff.
So, if you guys will, throw $20 down, you can be on here next month.
Well, yay. I didn't know if throwing $20 down was the second option. I threw it at the computer instead.
Right. Throw your money at your computer. That's all you have to do. And all your dreams will come true.
I'm sure it'll work for you.
We did mention this as a
So you mean I'm going to get a yacht someday? Yay!
Yeah, it's a reward you can only really take once.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing, but, whatever.
So they better make sure it's good for that one time.
I don't put pressure on people like that. That's not cool.
No, it's putting pressure on you.
Except when it's you. You totally have all the pressure on you.
He's trying to put the pressure on us, but we're not going to allow it.
Yeah, you're the guest. Introduce yourself, fool, to the world.
I'm person. I person by a person.
Tylertron, he's Slice's younger brother.
Yeah.
I know all his embarrassing secrets.
Everybody in the audience say
but
hi,
I'm not allowed to tell. What?
If you guys have a mic, you could just throw down $20 and
All right.
We're done. Episode of us purely talking about Patreon and throwing down money.
Here.
You know what? You know what? You're a reward. That's you're a person who got his reward, so we have to mention it so people can see that you get your reward.
Yeah, I guess.
Was our honor in question at any point? I don't understand.
Now it can be unquestionable.
People can be a little bit leery of just giving money to random strangers that aren't actually a business or anything like that. So
fair enough.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to move on straight into what is always and always will be our first topic, which is what are we doing? So what have we been doing? Zero.
All right, so I updated my story, M19470. I've moved that now, so that story is updated monthly at the least. So I can get some sort of regular update going, because I have never really had any sort of regular updates for any of my stories. Ever. So that was a nice change. Casey actually praised me on that chapter, said you really killed it this chapter, Zero, and I was like, oh, yay.
He killed somebody? Jeez.
Not yet. But...
Oh.
It was pretty close, though, actually.
I don't read stuff.
But, it was one of my more favorite chapters, so I really enjoyed it. just writing it, because I got to really delve into the characters with it. Because it's kind of like if you were to think of my story in series and as a series, like seasons and stuff, this would be like the end of the second season.
Oh, you're one of those dickheads that puts cliffhangers at the end of your shows.
I don't think you're allowed to talk. Okay, just stop. No.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk.
Okay, that's a fair point.
But yeah, like this chapter and the next chapter after that would be like, I'd guess the end of this season, maybe the next chapter after that. But it's kind of my big finale. So I'm throwing everything I can down in here. All the stuff I've been building up, almost all of it, right here. Cause
was there any cake?
You know what? Speaking of cake, my little brother's birthday. He's turning 15. And so he turns 15 on Wednesday, but since my dad's going to be out of town, they were celebrating it last weekend. So I had cake the other night. It was freaking chocolatey, with chocolate in between the chocolate, with more chocolate on top.
Are you sure it wasn't just a blob of chocolate?
It was a blob of chocolate. You're right. You're absolutely
like
completely right, and it was delicious. Also, I got him, like, Persona 3 FES for the PlayStation 2, because we didn't have that game, and he really wanted it, because he's a major Persona fan now, because I converted him. And he's like, that's the only Persona game we don't, like, have other than 1 and 2, but he's got 1 and 2 on his Vita, I think, now.
Yay-ish. It's a Vita.
Yeah, I still can't believe he has one. But
I want it so I get the Sword Art game. That's really the only reason.
Yeah, that's the only reason I would ever get it. But so we got it, and we can't find the PlayStation 2 power cord for the longest time. So I ordered a power cord online, and I get it, and I plug it in, and it doesn't work.
The game or the power cord?
The power cord. It does not work. I'm going to send it back with a very angry demand for a refund.
Every time you guys say power cord, I could make a music joke, but none of you would get it.
Nope.
Maybe somebody in the audience gets it.
My little brother now plays guitar. He'd get that. I also learned a little bit of guitar, so I know what a power chord is.
Yeah, we're not all musical novices.
Use your words.
I don't know a good
We're not
word.
all musically inclined.
Okay.
Just to clear that up. So yeah, I updated that. I've also been playing Trove with my friends in my other group, Skype group that I run. And it's kind of like this MMO type. It's Minecraft-ish, but at the same time it's not. It's got open beta right now. We've been having a lot of fun with that, because there's just like all the weapons and all the items are user-created content. Huh. So there's like references, like there's the awesome face as a mask you can put on. And
so this is Trove, as in treasure trove.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is the second Skype group your cult of people?
No, it's from we were on Smashboards. We were the Shulk support thread for Smash Brothers. And
so technically it was the Shulk cult.
Yeah. The Xenoblade cult, to be exact.
Well, it's a cult of some sort.
And there's 22 of us in there, and I kind of run the social group and the social convo forum. So
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, we're all friends. We all know each other pretty well now. We've been hanging out for months. But yeah, so my brother's birthday I got him Persona 3 FES, but I also got him another present, and I ordered like a freaking $75 model evoker from Japan.
Nice. And why are you whispering, by the way?
Because I don't want him to hear through walls. I have thin walls.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay.
And I haven't given it to him yet, because I gave him the other present early, because it was his party. But $75. And it's really cool. Like, you can use it as a water gun, too. It was released for the Persona 3 movie.
Squirt.
So I lied to him about what my presents I were going to get him was, saying that I got him nip guards. You know, you used them to guard your nips.
Wow.
That's actually a pretty good present.
It is. Yeah. I guess.
He does football. He was actually kind of wanting some the other day.
Oh, okay. Then they're things you would get him then. They're real
presents. And then I made up a second present. I said, look, I got you some of these Japanese butt wedges.
Wow. Do you have a link for that?
They don't.
And does it say for work?
They don't have. It doesn't exist. I told him I got you a box of these butt wedges. You use them to help you poop. They look like chopsticks.
Wow.
Ew. I'm never gonna.
They got little dragons on the end of them too. And I was so convinced about it that he actually started to think it was a thing.
That's the thing. It actually sounds real now that you're talking about it.
Yeah. Because I thought this through as I was like driving home from work. I'm like, he's gonna ask me, you know, and this is my answer.
It's good you had an answer prepared ahead of time, so you don't sound nervous or stutter about it.
And just by saying Japanese butt wedges, you're immediately like, oh, it's the Japanese. They do everything there.
Yeah.
Japanese and European people are weird.
Hey. No, it's fine. We don't really classify ourselves.
And so, I looked it up on Urban Dictionary what a butt wedge is. It's a male reproductory organ used to wedge a butt open.
Yeah. What did you expect?
What he means is it's a sex aid. It is not a reproductive organ. I don't think you can use those that way.
Yeah, but basically, it was. I basically told him I got him a box of butt wedges. I basically told him I got a box of dicks for him.
Yeah, or butt plugs, whatever you prefer.
Holy hell! Zero just swore.
That wasn't swearing.
That was swearing. You said dicks.
Yeah, I
don't count that as swearing. I don't count that as a curse word.
Absolutely swearing.
I consider it a swear.
It's not swearing. Not for me. It's not one of my curse words. There are words that I will never say. That's not one of them.
For the sake of Zero's sense of self, we'll just let it slide.
Sure.
You remember last time we did this? You freaked out for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But so that's what I basically ended up saying I got him, and he was legitimately getting worried.
I'd be worried. Yeah.
No. Okay, when you get him the Evoker, you need to just give him a box. Just a regular brown box. Just hand it to him and don't say anything.
I agree with that plan.
His face is going to be perfect.
No, you've got to make sure that you label it right so that it has like.
Just label it
you
something
can print
Japanese.
out labels and just paste it on or something. And then he opens it and it's just the Evoker inside. He's like, am I supposed to put... Oh!
You gotta swerve them.
Yeah.
So, I actually do have a really nice pair of fancy chopsticks. I can use those. Never mind. So... Yeah. He kind of really... He's been going and saying, like, can I have a present now? Can I have a present now? I'm like, no, you're getting on your real birthday. You really want butt wedges that bad?
That's the perfect response, too.
And in my family, we're always screwing with each other like that, so he just improvised, like, yeah, I really need it. And it's just great. Because we just roll with everything.
What you don't realize is he's being absolutely serious, and he is massively constipated.
So, yeah, that was my week.
Okay.
Torturing his poor colon. How dare you. Monster.
Ken.
All right. For those of you who may or may not know, we are recording this on Veterans Day. So, and what Casey called it in his country is Remembrance Day, I think.
Something like that. I forget, to be honest.
You need a small military flag to start spinning around.
Last week you said the same thing. We were recording this on the voting day.
Well, it's not my fault. All this falls on Tuesdays, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, yeah, it's Veterans Day. You know, my dad used to serve, my brother does now, and while he hasn't actually been deployed in combat before, it's been like 10 years since the beginning of the last major time the U.S. was in conflict, and that train's never late, so any day now, you know?
It's gonna be like 10 years from now.
Anyway, other than that, I've been playing an assload of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. And, yeah, I love the boost system. I thought you were going to
talk about the first mission for my week.
I love the boost system so much online. It makes running and gun.
I love that grappling hook in the campaign.
Fuck the campaign. I'm talking about online. Campaign was just what I did to learn how to play online the way I need to.
That's exactly what I do for any of those games.
That's what you should do. I hate people that just go online that are incompetent and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Online's pretty messed up right now due to the fact that there's no balancing patches so far.
Yeah, I'm about to get to that. Sniping is potentially broken.
How so?
The Ball 27, though. That thing's overpowered.
Yeah.
Everybody's using it.
Well, that's understandable, though. It's a fast-firing machine gun. If it does any damage, then yeah. Anyway, what's up with the sniping? I can't snipe at night.
Like, it's the maps don't lend themselves to good sniping, but if the second someone finds out how to do it, if they have the right loadout, it's gonna kick ass. Because first of all, because it's Advanced Warfare, the sniper rifles are kind of like fucking railguns now. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Oh god, it's the thing snipers can just shoot through anything and hit you anywhere, right?
No, they can't shoot through anything. It's just that there's no real... How do I explain it?
They do a lot more damage.
That and point and you're dead, pretty much.
It's like you just stare in their general direction and they're dead.
Yeah, R2 is just a formality if they're in the crosshairs. In addition to that, there's also, if you get the right loadout, you're fucking golden. There's a thing that makes you invisible for like 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
In addition to that, there is, you can mute your footsteps altogether. You can like mask yourself from the UAV, mask yourself from the, anything finds you, like any drones or anything, any automatic strikes or anything.
Virtually invisible in every turn.
Pretty much invisible.
That's
so you could play like proper.
Yeah,
like,
if you
sniper.
do it right, good luck being found. If you know what you're doing.
Yeah. That footstep thing has never been more useful because your footsteps in that game are loud.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you are in a mechanical suit.
Sort of. It's an exosuit. But yeah, it's attached to your boots, so that metal bit would hit the ground too.
It would also be heavy as balls. So
True.
I love fucking meleeing people in that game. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The melee range is enormous.
Boom!
I know. And it's just punching someone. It's basically just punching someone.
But I love the grappling.
I imagine that's going to be overpowered.
I love it when you can kill somebody with a grappling hook.
Well, melee is one-shot kill anyway.
I like the fact that grappling hooks exist.
They don't exist online.
But it's like the single most important thing to have ever existed in any sort of video game.
In the campaign, I basically spammed grappling hook when I realized you could kill people with it. You could just shoot them and yank them over to you and curb stomp them.
Yeah. For people
and they would bleed out. They would like crush their skull.
You can pull the dudes out of the big behemoth armor as well.
Can I talk now?
Go ahead.
You shoot a grappling hook, it goes around their neck, and then you just drag them to you and you just punch them in the face. That's how that kill goes.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, just to clarify, I am not going to be linking Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. For one thing, no one needs me to. For another thing, Activision don't need even more publicity than they're already paying for. Thank you very much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've given up on Call of Duty, and even though Advanced Warfare looks like something new, I'm still not going to get back into it, mainly because of the online community.
Interesting thing. Advanced Warfare, pretty much what the creators of Call of Duty wanted to do in the first place before they, got fired and or quit.
Because they had to do World War II stuff for like 12 years?
No, because they kept saying, make more Modern Warfare. We don't want to do any futuristic crap. So they were like, alright, see ya. Then they went and made Titanfall. So. And now that Titanfall is pretty popular, Activision is saying, okay, make what they made. That's pretty much it. Now that it's popular, they're okay with it, so whatever.
And let's see what else. Oh yeah, I'm gotta start cutting weight again. I gotta get back to 185. So, and I do it the slow, healthier way. So I'm gonna be probably a miserable person for the next few weeks. And you'll probably notice that as the weeks drag on, I'll get more and more ornery every time we record something. So pay attention to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Alright. So, you got another fight lined up then? Or is this just in prep?
It's in prep because there's supposed to be one this weekend, but I'm not on it. But after that, I gotta call a promoter, figure out what the next one is, and see if I can get something together for that.
Yeah, I don't know if you could make the weight cut for that anyway.
Yeah,
it's a week.
I could.
It's not a lot of time.
I could, but I would be dead.
Mm.
So I don't feel like doing that.
Wouldn't be of much use in that fight, no.
Yeah. Also, I'm ridiculously addicted to 2 songs from the pop station in GTA 5. Everything She Wants by Wham! And West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys. And I do not know why.
I can't stop listening to Ghost by Mystery Skulls, so I can relate to that.
Yeah. And that's pretty much my week.
Okay. Slicer.
Alright, let's see. First, and what I was doing until we started the episode, because I cannot do that and record at the same time, is replayed Bayonetta. I'm becoming painfully aware that my reflexes are not as good as they used to be. Because I haven't played console games in a while. Or ones that require that much timing.
Mine is more being, like, in my mid-20s and things are starting to go downhill, but yeah, okay, that's fine. That's unfortunate for you, Slicer.
Yeah, okay.
That's sympathy.
Anyway, so yeah, all my dodge rolls and stuff are just like a half second too late, and it's not great.
That's like when you stop playing Dark Souls and you come back to it and you expect yourself to be just as good.
You get rusty at Dark Souls in like 2 days. It does not take very long. Anyway, to not get on a rant about Dark Souls for like the billionth time, I've completely given up on trying to get like platinums or golds or even silvers or bronze. I don't care. I just want to beat the game. So on the harder
given up on getting a rank of any kind.
I mean, like in combat and stuff, I can get consistent gold and platinums and sometimes silvers if I take too much damage. But I use items to heal and stuff, and that drops your rank really fast.
Yeah.
Plus all the instant death crap.
You're totally okay with the fucking stupid fat guy statues made of stone right now.
Yeah, Enzo statues. I'm going to have nothing but Enzo statues. It's going to be terrible. Oh,
what does that do?
It's a rank below bronze. It's stone. He's the comic relief character, sort of.
Oh.
Yeah. It's
so
the
they keep calling you
rank.
a fat stone person.
Yeah. Fat Italian.
A fat stoned person. A fat stoned Italian person.
I think he's
That's
Italian.
a bad
I actually
combination.
don't really know.
This is getting a little bit racist. Never mind.
We're describing a character. It's not like a stereotype. It's a character.
Okay. Any race can get stoned. It's not limited.
Right. I'm pulling away from that statement. I watched Ruby.
Yeah.
I just marathoned it, and it took like 3 hours.
Yay!
Really,
you did
really
it because
good
I was writing a
story.
fic, but yay!
What was that?
You did it because I was writing a fic, and I was like, hey, I still need you to read the chapters for me because I don't have another beta. So you were like, okay, and you just watched it without me needing to ask.
Yeah,
Nice
you told me
Yay.
Michael voiced the character, and at that point it's just like, all right, fine, sure.
Yeah.
Which you've told me
It's a cool
before,
character,
but I actually had free time this time, so I just did it.
Yeah, I don't have any free time.
I actually, when the trailers came out, I watched Red right away, and then after a while, after they'd been released for like a month or two, I watched Yellow and Black. And one thing that stuck with me until watching the series, actually, was the voice acting was not great.
It was bad in the trailers, yes.
That's the thing, though. It's about the same. I just watched them again, the trailers, and the guy for Adam is very clearly inexperienced at voice acting, but they're about the same, honestly.
I'm not sure about that. That was, I think that was Garrett Hunter, who is from Mega 64, and they do a lot of comedy sketches and stuff. Do you remember that weird, stupid thing that Hideo Kojima was pimping at some award show or something for? You could transfer saves from PS3 to Vita or whatever.
Yeah.
Trans something.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it, though.
It was a really stupit name, but they did a whole sketch for it, and that was Mega 64 that did that.
Ah.
So they do a lot of acting stuff.
Yeah, they also did Nintendo's E3 skit, or promote their promo video for E3.
I'm not going to be able to find this stuff, but I'll just link Mega 64.
I had no idea E3 had promo videos. I mean, it makes sense that they would, but I have never seen one.
Nintendo did like a whole we're gonna be at E3 with all this stuff, and we're gonna do these live streams.
Oh yeah, they did the pre-show thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched a reaction to that. It was hilarious.
Alright, Slicer, you were saying.
Anyway, yeah, the voice acting, it grows on you. I didn't have much of a problem with it by the time the series started, but there were a few moments where it kind of dropped in quality, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. It didn't detract from anything, and the character models moved awkwardly sometimes, but that just kind of comes with 3D animation in that style.
Sometimes, yeah. The end of Season 1 has some bad examples of the movement, I think.
In what scene specifically you're thinking of?
When Sun jumps off of the boat, and then he's running down the street, and it looks like he's sort of sliding across the ground, kind of.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sliding! Whee!
Yeah.
That seems to be kind of a common thing. They haven't really hammered down the run animation for some of the characters yet, and they look a bit silly.
Oh well. It's still a great show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We're picking at it, but it's still a great show. And a great setting as well.
I can't sell things. I always try to tell people the negatives first so they go into it, discover the positives for themselves, but then they don't want to go into it because I tell them it's terrible. Or they get that impression. But no, it's a really good series. I fully recommend it. I only watch the stuff on YouTube, though, because Rooster Teeth Player doesn't work with my internet. A lot of players don't, but yeah. So I haven't seen up to like the end of Season 2, I think, is what they're at now. I'm not sure.
No, I think you have. Episode 12 was the last one, and that's where they come out of the train tunnel.
Oh. All right, then I guess I have. All right.
Yeah.
I've also discovered that there's not a whole lot of great RWBY fanfiction. It's
not really.
All I've discovered is it's decent, but it's more of a time waster style stories than really anything meaty. I have a recommendation, and that's the only really good one I've found.
Yeah, that's the problem with shows or series that don't have a lot of time to expand on the setting and stuff, because people have to fill the blanks themselves, and some are great at that. The games we play, for example, that's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the time, people just don't want to put in that kind of effort, and that just means you get kind of shallow stories sometimes.
Yeah. Or they focus completely on school life or stuff where it really doesn't matter what the world they're in. They could be doing that in any world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Initially, I actually thought this was, like, all hidden. Like, this was just regular real-life style thing. But I was pleasantly surprised that's not the case. No, this is an entire world who's at war consistently, and everyone carries weapons. It's great. I like it. It's always nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Lisa?
Nope, that's it. Oh, right. When I tried to read Naruto, the site was down, so I actually had to wait like 4 hours. It's apparently too many people were reading it at once.
Well, that makes sense.
I had no problem reading it.
He means when it first came out.
Yeah, when it first came out.
Yeah. But I meant like Willing-wise.
Also, apparently I'm blind. I had one more thing. In The Walking Dead, there's a character who is a cannibal, and the main group is kidnapped by him and eventually escape. And the leader of the group, Rick, decides to go back and try to kill the cannibals, switch them off so they don't have to deal with them again. When they're captured, he makes a promise that he is going to kill the leader of the cannibals with a machete with a red handle. He's very particular about what machete he's going to use. And later, when the cannibals try to ambush them, they're ambushed by Rick's group. As they kind of light Yagami him, that kind of deal. And they straight up kill him. Like, he's begging for his life. Or at first he's like, begging is kind of useless, isn't it? And Rick's like, yeah. And then he tries to beg for his life anyway. And he kills him with the machete. And it was refreshing. I've seen so much crap where they just let the bad guy go, and it was nice.
You could see the bad guy said, he's like, you guys would have, why didn't you kill me already? You guys are lying, you're bluffing. And he's just like, I made a promise.
Don't you just love payoffs like that?
Yeah.
Now, to ask, was all of that a giant spoiler?
No, that happened 2 weeks ago, so
okay,
I waited. Cool. That's why I asked.
That's the thing he wanted to talk about last week.
Talk about before, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, kudos to you for waiting, but don't talk about the new stuff because people would get mad. Anything else?
And that's my week.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Tyler. Keep it recent, if that's all right.
Yeah, I do not have an interesting life. I just get on the Xbox, play with my friends. So pretty much the interesting things is, I got that Call of Duty cert, and it's freezing outside.
Yeah, it's like November and shit.
No, well, not everybody can. Everybody can have.
Actually, I do have something to tell you. We just got rid of our air conditioners yesterday.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going somewhere with this, but no. Okay.
We've had our air conditioners for a long time now.
Well, you know what? Not everyone can have a butt wedge story.
It's very true. That's some primo wisdom there.
Don't say that like it's sage wisdom. You're not allowed to do that.
No, I'm totally taking his advice.
All right then.
So yeah, pretty much all I can talk about is the Call of Duty thing. And that's pretty much it.
Did you... Any thoughts on the game, or...?
Campaign was good. I haven't got to the multiplayer yet.
Good man. Actually playing the game first. That's good. Something that people should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some people who just completely ignore the campaign. It just bothers me so much.
I find it a little bit offensive if they're going to spend enough time and money and hire fucking, what was it, Kevin Spacey?
Yeah.
For the fucking campaign, and people just ignore the whole damn thing.
They spent like 3 years making the game. So yeah. Might as well enjoy all of it.
You know...
Yeah, rather than skipping a big chunk of it, yeah.
But I'm not
in most Call of Duty games, I get it. People buy it so they have the online thing, and the campaign is just training mode, essentially. But most people know how to play those games. This one is the first one. It's like, there are new mechanics. You need to learn these. So, yeah. This one, I would really strongly recommend people play the campaign.
Like Modern Warfare 2, okay, you played Modern Warfare 1. There's not a bunch of a step up. You know?
Modern Warfare 2, I think, had a good campaign.
It had a good campaign, though. I will admit that.
1 was apparently better.
Yeah, I played pretty much all of them until Black Ops.
Black Ops 1 was terrible. But after that, Black Ops 2 was really good. Like, you could select your loadout for campaign. And you could get, like, scavengers, so, yeah. You had infinite ammo for anything, basically.
I'm just gonna play with my bubble wrap over here.
Okay.
I don't have anything else to say about Call of Duty.
So yeah, basically the first mission, and this is a joke that Slicer made, is you're in a drop pod, like you get drop pod, and he said, "Welcome to the Hell Jumpers." As you're falling into the city, it's a thing kind of like you hit
all the ODSTs, yeah.
Yeah, you hit something, the door goes open, so you have to like quickly all of a sudden start tapping something to get the thing closed.
You get the ODST treatment, essentially.
Yeah. And then, like, everything gets back online, the screen to show where you're going to land gets back online, and you realize you're about to land in a building. So you land, you get out, some guy nearly fell, like, off the building. Like, it's a skyscraper type building.
Okay.
And so you just do some gunfighting, you use your exosuit a bit to get down, and then you realize more what your actual mission is, because they didn't really tell you that well, unfortunately. You're supposed to blow up this gigantic helicopter thing.
You kind of rambling a bit.
Helicopters again.
Wait, what?
You're rambling a bit.
Oh, I was just
we are
telling you.
We are on a time schedule. I don't need to rush you, but...
Okay. So you realize the demolition team's dead. So you grab the explosives, go through a gunfight to the helicopter. You hand the guy the explosives, and the door jams, like it jams on his arm because it's lifting off. You know, all the doors close automatically.
Okay. Is this actually going
about
somewhere?
It's the end of the mission, like, right then.
No, I mean, is this whole retelling the first mission of the game going somewhere?
Just listen. So you try to get the door open, the thing explodes, and then a guy runs up and drags you away, and you realize some shrapnel that fell on you cut off your arm.
Oh, that. Okay. The point of it was there's a really good animation sequence where you get hit by shrapnel. It's just like, you think it dazes your character, but when your commanding officer goes over and he's like, "Are you okay?" and he has this really distinct expression on his face that's like, shit, something, and you just realize something bad happened. And when he drags you away, your arm doesn't come with you.
Okay, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was.
Or it sounds it anyway. I don't know. I'm never going to play it, so.
I just have been playing with bubble wrap this entire time. I muted my mic so I could get really into it. So, yeah.
So, yeah,
that's my opinion of Call of Duty. Bubble wrap is more entertaining.
That's a bit rough, but okay. Alright. My week. Found out some great, very, heartening news that Mass Effect, the next one, is going to have a new writer.
Oh gosh, who is it?
He was the lead writer for Halo 4.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I liked Halo 4.
That's not too bad. There are a lot worse.
It's not exactly a step up, though, is it? I mean,
it's more
Mass
like a
Effect.
sidestep.
Yeah.
Okay, this depends. Was he writing for Halo 4 Vanilla, or did he do Spartan Ops as well? Because those were decent.
At the very least, he wrote Vanilla. I don't know whether he wrote Spartan Ops.
Well, Vanilla wasn't too bad, though. Like, honestly.
Yeah, but it's not exactly grand space opera stuff, is it? It's bro shooter in space.
Pretty much. It's gotten a bit better in recent installments about, having an actual story, but yeah.
So, I wasn't exactly... Could you please stop popping the bubble wrap? It does come off on the audio, by the way. I was never actually keen on another Mass Effect because Mass Effect 3 sucked balls and was dumb as shit and was completely against the tone of the first game and even the second game.
And wasn't the ending terrible?
That goes without saying at this point.
Let's not even. But, this has not exactly filled me with hope for a new beginning for the series. So, I wrote a thing. That's something that happened.
2 things.
Yeah. If people remember the story, when we were talking about story concepts that we came up with that we thought were really good, I actually wrote one of them, which was the Ruby Naruto crossover with Naruto taking on the role of Fantastic Mr. Fox from the Roald Dahl book. And the film, I suppose.
Oh, I knew it! I was like, when I first saw the title, I was like, this is Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yes, it was.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, is this a Naruto? Like, it says Ruby, but is this really Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yeah. Well, the 3 names beginning with B, and they're all farmers, kind of probably should have been a tip-off. But yeah, it was, actually, that story, yes. So, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. I did okay with that, I think.
You learned a valuable lesson, I suppose, though
I did
you weren't really guilty of anything.
Lesson. Are we talking about that this week? Yes, we are. So we'll get into that more when we get to it. But yeah, it was fun times, good times. Nice to be writing again. Actually doing things. It's nice. Back to fucking BioWare. I really should have put these together, but whatever. Dragon Age Inquisition. So here's the thing. Dragon Age Inquisition. I hated Mass Effect 3. Basically put me off the entire series that whole thing is. Because it was bad. And it was completely against anything that BioWare had ever done before. I really liked Dragon Age 2, though. A lot of people didn't. I really liked that game.
I really liked it, too.
Interesting things. It did interesting things with the plot. There was a very good no right answer ending that I liked, except for the stupid boss fight.
Yeah.
But Dragon Age Inquisition is probably going to be the last chance.
Yeah.
Because if they can't do hardcore RPGs right, if BioWare screw up a hardcore RPG the same way they did Mass Effect, then they no longer have anything to offer me, because that's what I go to them for.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a bit of the intro of the game, and you can play as a Kunari, or a Kosith.
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense in the context.
That doesn't make sense because the plot of the game is the Kunari are a religious group. It is a religion. It is a way of life. And in this game, you become a very prominent member of the Chantry, which is another religious group. And these two religious groups happen to be at war, basically.
But you're a special snowflake.
Yeah, sort of. Because, as I told Sisa in a conversation we had over Skype at some point this week, I'm pretty sure the game starts with you being an amnesiac. Because we've never seen that before.
You mentioned it was strongly hinted, I believe were your words, or something to that effect.
Yeah, I wasn't paying that much attention, but your character starts the game in a situation and he doesn't really know how he got there.
I feel like with the Kunari, if they can do that if it's handled right. If they don't just say, "Oh yeah, you're Kunari." If they mention that and they're able to work with that, then that's fine.
Yeah.
It's delicate though.
I've bought the game. I'll be playing it as soon as it comes out, and I will have more well-developed impressions on what I think of it. But I don't have much hope at the moment. I'm really, really praying that it's good.
I really want it to be good.
I don't want to abandon BioWare. As I keep saying, they made a lot of my favorite games ever. So... What was the phrase that I used before Slicer? Something like Sonic levels of...
Oh, yeah.
Frustrated or something like that.
Yeah. You've reached Sonic fandom levels of frustration.
Yeah.
But
we'll see how it goes.
While sounding unique, after some thought, you're not a masochist. You're actually willing to give it up. So that's the Sonic fandom is not willing to do that.
I gave it up. Well, mostly. Generations was great, but I don't really care about the series anymore, so...
I might give Sonic Boom a chance. Maybe.
Apparently the cartoon is the Sonic version of Teen Titans Go, so no.
Was that a bad show? I don't know.
Yes. It turns fairly serious characters into caricatures, and it's not great.
Great.
For humor.
All right.
They basically took all the wacky traits from the Teen Titan characters and flanderized it.
Yeah, that's about right.
There's also an episode about them just saying waffles.
For 15 minutes.
I don't know about you, but that
minutes.
sounds like a bunch of fun to me.
It gets annoying after a while.
The sarcasm in my voice. Oh.
Okay, next thing. Ubisoft suck. That pretty much covers that whole thing that I was going to talk about, to be honest with you.
Pretty
But
much,
to elaborate a little bit, that they started pulling the games off Steam. They're still down in Europe, I believe. And they want people to use Uplay, but Uplay sucks, because when I tried to uninstall a game, it demanded that it be allowed to install updates, and then it decided it didn't want to connect to the internet. All I wanted to do was uninstall Watch Dogs. That was it. But when I tried, it immediately started up Uplay and did a bunch of other shit that I didn't want it to do. So when I did manage to uninstall Watch Dogs, guess what? I had no other games on Uplay. So the logical solution was to get rid of Uplay. And, yeah, never going to use it again.
Were you feeling gleeful when you destroyed it?
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
It was like half an hour waiting for it to sort its bullshit out, and then just to get rid of it because it had pissed me off so much was really satisfying. It was quite nice.
Pretend I pat you on the back.
Yeah, thank you. That's much appreciated. Yeah, so I'm not touching Uplay. Yeah. If Assassin's Creed doesn't come out on Steam, then I won't buy it.
1 second.
Yeah. And I probably won't buy it anyway.
I wasn't going to buy it anyway. Fuck, they're all the same.
Unity does not look interesting to me. French Revolution, I'm British, so you can imagine what my interest level in that is, but, you know. Rogue looks mildly interesting, but only because it's doing the fucking sailing mechanic again.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
If you got... Go ahead.
That's the only part of Assassin's Creed that is interesting to me anymore. I'm basically waiting until they do that pirate series that they were wondering about doing. So, yeah. Ubisoft don't have much to offer me either anymore. I'm running out of good game companies.
Nintendo is doing great.
I find Kirby games fun.
No, they're not. Nintendo is not doing great.
They're doing great, actually.
Sure.
Not paying attention, because they are actually doing really good right now.
They're doing pretty poorly, actually. 3DS isn't exactly doing gangbusters, and Wii U is really falling behind.
They're still doing Mario Kart 8 sold a lot of units. And Smash Bros. is still selling a lot.
I was going to say, though, if you had the chance to get Assassin's Creed Unity for free or for a few pounds, would you get it just so you could stab the French people?
No, I'm just generally not interested in French, so I don't care about stabbing French people.
Yeah, I'm getting hooked up with a new game, and I had the choice of, hey, dude, you can either get Assassin's Creed Unity or Far Cry, and I didn't even let him finish. I was like, Far Cry.
Yep.
There was no
that's
choice
still
there.
a Ubisoft game, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even care about Unity, though.
Also, co-op Assassin's Creed.
Fuck that.
No.
Everybody's going to be kill stealing. That's kind of the thing. It's basically who can be a jerk to the other person the most.
Even if they're not, it's constantly going to be fuck-ups from somebody.
I loved how there was blatantly a woman in that commercial as well. One of the 4 players was a woman. And a nice close-up pan of her face. She was enjoying playing the game.
We're not bad guys, honest. You know, we can do it. We're not sexist. Totally.
Yeah, totally.
They've had female assassins before. I don't know where this whole... Fucking, what's
the whole walk
name?
cycle thing that people were harping on about.
Kid was a fucking woman. Why couldn't they do women? I don't understand where this came from at all. It made no sense.
Because Ubisoft is really bad at PR.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Everyone in the games industry is really bad at PR.
Yeah. If they would have handled it better, they could have just said, you know, like, hey, we're working on it. We see it later. And there you go. Then they have an out. I mean, they could work it in. But now they can't go back on their word. Otherwise, they're just... It doesn't work.
Yeah. Next on my list, I did have a lot of stuff this week. I apologize for that, but we're going to get through it. This happened today. Rooster Teeth got They got bought.
What?
Who bought Rooster Teeth?
Rooster Teeth are now owned by Full Screen, which is one of those YouTube network bullshit things.
Oh.
Which, if you go further up the chain, are owned by AT&T.
Oh, God. You know, I just realized I probably would have reacted that way if you would have said any major cable company. They're all terrible.
Mm-hmm. But, upside, if they try and do that bullshit fucking...
Movie?
What was it, Fastlane crap?
Throttling.
Where they...
It's...
Yeah, they throttle your internet and your stuff can't be seen by many people or something. It slows everyone down. That's not going to happen to Rooster Teeth, apparently, because fucking AT&T and shit.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty okay.
I guess they get a free pass on that.
Well, good for them, I guess. I mean, everyone wants to sell out, so fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about it as though, this is great, we can produce more content and all that stuff, and nothing is going to change from the outsider's perspective.
No.
But aside from that being blatantly untrue, I mean, look at Game Grumps when they got acquired by Polaris. It wasn't even just the outside that we saw with Rooster Teeth, it was the inside. We got to know the people, we liked the people, and...
Yeah, you watch it for the people.
Yeah, and that's conspicuously not mentioned.
What?
So,
who were they owned by before?
They weren't. They were independent.
Oh, okay. That is kind
They
of
were pretty much the last great independent, video entertainment
YouTube channel.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure about Mega 64, maybe them as well, but,
Everybody uses their services, I feel like, with Mega 64. It's like, yeah, we're not afraid to act really, really, really dumb.
It's just kind of sad and depressed, and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop as far as this deal goes, because something's going to get screwed up, whether it's like a year from now or 5 years from now. And Full Screen are going to step in, they're going to say, you can't do this. And Rooster Teeth are going to have to comply. And it's going to snowball.
It's very possible we might see the downfall of Rooster Teeth and then the uprise of all the people that just left into another company. Mm-hmm. And then we have Rooster Teeth 2.0.
Basically. I mean, that's basically what happened with fucking Game Grumps and Polaris, like I said. It's a bit iffy as to what the details were. But the general idea is Aaron and John disagreed over the new direction of the channel that they were taking while they were signing deals with Polaris. And John was not cool with it, and Aaron was absolutely cool with it because he owned the channel and he was basically getting a bunch of money. And then fucking unamicable split. And neither one mentions the other anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. It gets kind of awkward whenever his name gets brought up. I've only seen a few episodes, but...
It's pretty depressing.
Thanks for specifying on that, by the way. I actually had no idea the story behind that.
It's not confirmed by any means, but that's generally the impression that is given a lot. Apparently someone supposedly on 4chan spilled the real story, but no confirmation it was someone that really knew, and... no confirmation whether he was telling the truth, so who knows. But that's a fair estimation of events, I believe.
It's believable. I can believe that, yeah.
Anyway, one last thing. You ever listened to a musician and thought, hey, this is a really cool musician, and then you look at the song listing and think, wait a second, I know that quote. I know that quote too. That's a reference. Oh, this guy's a huge, enormous anime nerd.
If I noticed, you just called yourself that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
We already
Not a bad
thing. Things.
Yeah. So, Fightstar are a rock band. Pretty good one. Brilliant one, actually. And they have a lot of songs that are based around Neon Genesis Evangelion. They have songs called Shinji Ikari and Nerve Sele.
So what you're saying is they have good
and
taste.
Unfamiliar Ceilings. Sorry, Slicer?
So what you're saying is they have good taste.
No, I'm saying they have terrible taste. But, anime fans, so cool. Yay. Yeah, that was a weird thing to find out.
Was it one of those moments where you were by yourself, but you still looked around the room like somebody else was there, getting the same reaction you got, wishing someone was there?
I was talking to Slicer at the time when I discovered this, so basically I was, can you believe this shit? Freaking cool guy, fucking scene band kind of thing, well, sort of ish, and they're fucking talking about anime and shit all the time.
Living the dream, as it were.
I guess. It's not like they were even coded references. like you see that kind of thing sometimes, but not when it's just like straight, hey, this is about this thing, specifically. It's weird. Also, the lead singer used to be in a pop group. Like, boy band kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
I imagine you haven't, but have you ever heard of Busted?
No.
They had some interesting songs. Yeah. One of them called Year 3000. Went something like, been to the year 3000. Not much has changed, but they lived underwater. And your great-great-great-granddaughter, she's pretty fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love everything about that line.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna link the video for that because it's spectacular in how it's probably one of the dumbest music videos I've ever seen. But yeah, he went from that to fucking pseudo metal band. That was quite the transition.
I can see that. That is pretty abrupt.
Pretty cool though. Cool dude. That's pretty much my week.
Oh, speaking of music...
Weird discoveries and sad discoveries.
Speaking of music, I forgot to mention, I actually went to a concert last weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a Christian concert. I brought a friend. It was pretty good.
What
Christian concert.
Oh.
There was a guy who was rapping, and it was really cool. Christian rapping. It's weird, but awesome.
Yes, it is.
And Christian Screamo, which was weird, but awesome.
Screamo is never awesome.
It was kind of more metal.
Fucking Flyleaf is brilliant. I'll just say that much.
It's kind of more metal, but there was a little bit of screaming in there. But weird, but yeah.
Christian rap I'd be okay with at this point because fucking regular rap is boring as shit.
It's pretty good. I liked it. It was pretty well done. The seats were horrible though. My whole family went with me, so me and my friend we got pretty good seats. Because they didn't actually do tickets. They were just pay $10 at the door and you can come in. Which was bad.
That sounds like a pretty bad idea, yeah.
Yeah. So my mom was sitting in the back on the concrete stairs.
Yeah.
All twisted so she could actually see. It's horrible.
Does she have any back issues?
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah.
Well, we're an hour in.
Yeah, we should probably do
topics.
topics.
We should probably get to the topics.
Yeah, we should do
what
that.
What happens if we get somebody else on?
So, first topic. This was chosen by Tyler because we said, hey, pick a topic. And this is growing with the audience. This is when you do a show or a book series or whatever, and
for me,
it takes so long that basically your audience who has read this since they were very young, they're kind of teenagers now. So, maybe you should age it up a little bit so that they still appreciate it and don't move on, because you don't want your audience to move on. That's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tyler, you gonna open this up for us?
Well, this would be less surprising if I could sign into my actual Skype, but I'm a brony. And so My Pony actually did that pretty well. Because they
have an Applejack avatar, I believe.
No.
That's Nick's account. His is Scootaloo.
Yes.
I don't know who that is, but I know Applejack because apparently, according to Ray Narvaez Jr., she's the best pony. I don't fucking know.
So basically, the show gets more serious as the time goes on. Like the first season's just trying to make sure they get another season and funny, and then later on it gets more serious. And that's pretty much it.
It's a very short time frame, but might be.
Either I talk for a short time or I just ramble.
He means the show.
I meant the time frame for the show.
Yeah.
Because
it's on the 4th season.
Yeah.
And we have to wait a year for the next season.
That's still pretty short, though. I mean,
a good example of this being ignored would be Pokemon, the anime.
Yeah,
Pokemon just lets the audience move.
Yeah, it hasn't changed at all.
They went down.
Yeah.
They did,
They did not grow.
Yeah.
They shrunk with the audience.
Yeah, they dumbed that shit down.
Mm-hmm.
Both in... Well, I was going to say the anime as well, but Black and White was actually apparently kind of a little bit more adult, because fucking Jesse and James was supposedly somewhat more hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know, but apparently that's what happened. But yeah, the games really just sort of... they skew young now. Really young.
Oh, yeah. They've gotten easier over time. Less work needed to be put into them.
Yeah, X and
which
Y
I guess is what sells games. I mean, kids don't have as much time as they used to because there are so many other things they could be doing.
Yeah, like playing better, more interesting games. But, yeah, I still say the fucking hacks are the best games in the series, which is a depressing thing to say, but I think it's still true.
Well, they have more character, I suppose.
It's made by fans.
Some of them do.
Is the main thing.
They have more potential for personalization.
Yeah, and they don't have as many restrictions as the developers.
I just meant the straight up fucking hardcore hacks. The fucking Blaze Black and Spirit Gold, I think it was.
Remember that time we tried a Pokemon LP?
I meant to talk to you about that. We'll get to it later, but yeah. I keep forgetting.
Whatever happened to the Castle Crashers one? I like that.
We've still got a couple of episodes, but that kind of fell to the wayside because of network issues.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. We've still got a couple of episodes, but you'll see what we mean when it lags for like 3 seconds and says waiting for players and shit.
Yeah.
It got pretty rough.
I murdered all of them in Arena.
Like it was
quite a
hard.
few times. It was fun.
But anyway. Oh.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Growing with the audience. I can't... What do you think of series that actually did it?
Harry Potter
Buffy
is the most obvious example.
Yeah, it is actually a perfect example.
Even if it left some significant parts of growing up out of it.
It left some things to be desired, but yeah, that was the point of filming children, actually, is because they wanted to have those characters always be that person. Daniel Radcliffe would always be Harry Potter, that kind of thing.
Yep. That hasn't changed.
Yep, he still is. Even when he's doing his own stuff, he's still Harry Potter.
Yeah. Though apparently he can rap. I saw that one.
Yeah, that was cool. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I
can't quite say it's cool, but it was weird.
Just like rapping to like... I can't.
It was like an alphabet rap or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I saw that.
I'm just glad it hasn't. He doesn't hate the character like the guy who played Edward in Twilight. His interviews are hilarious.
He purposely made the character extra moody just because he hated him so much.
Yeah.
Apparently that look that is in every shot of every film that he does, with the sort of half-lidded eyes where he can't really see if you were to think about it, is because he had contacts in and he was really irritated by them. So that wasn't quite intentional, but they worked with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of feel sorry for him.
A little bit, but I mean, he's getting paid probably a lot, and it's not every day you get to mock openly something like that, and nobody can say anything to you.
He's gleeful when he rips into that series.
That makes me happy to know that.
Yeah.
Few people hate it more than him.
That's actually true.
I'd like to shake his hand now. Like, I want to meet this person.
Yeah. Let's see, the benefits of growing with the audience or not, what would those be?
Well, the benefits are obviously that you keep your audience.
But you don't grow it, typically. It's really hard to.
Yeah, if you grow with your audience, then that means you're making a series. And if you're making a series, then people have to start at the beginning, don't they? So you can't grow your audience at all.
Yeah.
And basically you're just maintaining and hoping that the audience stays with you.
Hence why some games, like, say, like the Mario games, don't typically tend to, change too much. Like, you don't see a gritty Mario now.
They don't change anything. Princess needs rescuing, or the kingdom needs saving.
Your princess is in another castle.
Etc. Yeah.
Or another galaxy, as it were, when they moved to the Wii.
Yeah, that was...
Isn't that supposed to be really easy?
I don't actually know. I don't think it is. It looks kind of... controls are wonky, but I don't know. I never played it. But you won't... It depends on how you handle it, I feel. I mean, I can't get into Doctor Who or DC Comics or Marvel Comics or any of that stuff because, well, I don't want to go all the way back to the beginning.
The only DC comic I ever really got into, was able to get into, was frickin' Deadpool, because Deadpool's origins are so screwed up that it doesn't matter where you start.
It's Marvel.
Deadpool isn't DC.
It's kind of become a running gag, honestly, his origins. They keep changing, and all of them are true, and none of them are true.
Yeah, if memory says, one of them was that he's made of cancer.
Yeah, he had cancer, and he got the healing thing, and what that did was they made it so strong that it just ended up spreading the cancer to every single one of his cells.
It didn't cure the cancer.
It healed the cancer.
It healed him, but his body is constantly being destroyed and healing itself. Sort of.
Yeah,
in a weird
it's regeneration. Way. It's the problem with regeneration. It splits the cells, but because his cells were cancerous, now all of them are cancerous.
That just sounds like torture.
Like he
is kind of insane, so...
Yeah, he's completely nuts. That's the point.
Also, anyone see that Deadpool trailer?
Yes.
Well, the test footage? Yeah, I saw that. Looks like fun, doesn't it?
Makes me want to see it.
I'm super excited for it.
Do they have anyone for it?
Ryan Reynolds really wants it.
He should get it.
He's been the one pushing for it. He's been the one keeping that movie alive.
Yeah, and he did pretty okay with it.
He was a big fan of Deadpool.
He's a good Deadpool. He'd be a good Deadpool.
Yeah,
he was a douche anyway.
He was really upset with how they ended up doing, Deadpool and that, because he was a big Deadpool fan.
Yeah, that must have felt bad.
He named the character Deadpool, who was absolutely not Deadpool.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was when he wasn't Deadpool. That's the thing. But when they were in the there was one scene. He was in the elevator, and the merc who played him eventually became him. That was Deadpool, and then he became this thing.
Yeah. Let's just shut his mouth. Let's shut the mouth of the merc with a mouth. Great.
I hope it comes out, and I hope it's good. That'd be nice. Well, can't really complain about a good movie, can you?
Yeah, I
don't think it's going to be a bad thing.
I hope it ends up being really good too. I really like Deadpool as a character, especially in the comics now.
Should be interesting either way. What were we talking about? Growing with the audience.
Yeah.
How do you do it well? If you're going to do it, how do you do it well?
I want to say Naruto did it well, but I'm not honestly sure. I mean, the plots did get more serious, I guess. The scale did improve, but I don't know. Harry Potter is the obvious answer. That handles it fairly well.
Dragon Ball tried to do it.
What was the time frame between Dragon Ball and Z?
1989 and 1996, I think.
Okay. Yeah. 7. Yeah, that's about right. I mean,
the problem was with GT was they tried to push the growing with the audience too hard.
Yeah, that's a step too far. But yeah, regular Dragon Ball Z, just that one. I think that did it well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the characters were like adult and had kids or were in adult relationships.
Yeah, and the battles were actually really serious. Whereas in regular Dragon Ball, it was just, we're having a fun adventure. It was like, no, we're gonna die.
Yeah, come to think of it, Dragon Ball did it really well, because in the beginning it was like mostly shtick, and then by the time King Piccolo showed up, they got more serious by the time regular Piccolo. Yeah.
And then it gets to actually making them people rather than, caricatures that they started out as. And you get decent plot and character, for shonen-ish.
We get shonen character development. That's different, but it does.
The thing with Dragon Ball
Goku kind of acts like a dad, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, Dragon Ball has a lot of the precedents other shonen things do. That's the thing. Like, everything takes inspiration from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, everything has to have a time skip. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, well. Okay, an example of doing it badly.
Mileage may vary on it, but Pokemon.
Yeah.
Again, Pokemon didn't really do it, but yeah.
You said doing it badly, so I assumed,
Not doing it does not count as doing it badly.
Yeah. See, I don't know if Digimon counts.
It kind of does. It kind of did try to grow and keep trying new things, but it was never
the third
Pokemon.
season.
Season 3 kind of started. They all kind of started innocent and got serious, but I think 4 is really where it got more mature, I guess, because it was like season 1, as in all the kids were on their own, but they had to actually deal with more problems. It seemed like, I don't know, more mature decisions rather than just survival.
I have an idea of something that did it badly.
What's that?
Prince of Persia.
Oh, yeah. Oh boy. That was a thing.
What was the name of the band that they hired to do the soundtrack?
Wasn't it Linkin Park?
Godsmack or something?
It might have been Godsmack. I don't know.
Some metal band that were rubbish. And then the prince from the first game, there was an interesting character, flawed but realistic. It turned into fucking emo growly face, who had long hair that sort of fell into his face, and he always had a scowl because he was a rough kind of guy and stuff.
Like
he was dark and mysterious.
Yeah.
But he wasn't mysterious. We knew who he was.
Yeah.
You can't do that when you already know who his character is.
You're not supposed to realize that.
There was nothing to reveal about the mysterious facet of his personality.
But if he acts mysterious, then it might seem like there's something there. There isn't, but, if he acts
there was something there.
Mysterious.
You could have built on what was already there.
Also, kudos to, I think it was Yuri Lowenthal that voiced the prince in the first game.
I don't remember.
I think it was him doing his pseudo-British accent.
Oh, Yuri Lowenthal.
Yes, it was Yuri Lowenthal.
Cool.
He was good in that role. Because he talked the entire game with a fucking narrator voice. It was good. Next topic?
Yeah, I really cannot think of anything. Has anybody seen Buffy? Does that count?
Yes. Buffy. Ooh, that's a good example of doing it badly, I think. Because Joss Whedon likes to do his metaphors, his plots to be metaphors for things going on in people's lives and stuff. The high school ones were generally good. The ones that the networks wanted to add, like fucking an episode about drinking beer that turned them all into cavemen because there was a spell on it, was really dumb.
What?
Yeah, that was an episode.
Why did people think that's a good idea?
They didn't. I'm pretty sure Whedon was basically mocking the concept of, network-mandated episodes for very special episodes. So it was really dumb and really terrible.
If that was the case.
Yeah, so... Though the one about, not having sex was kind of on the nose. I don't think having sex will turn your boyfriend into an axe murderer.
Wow.
Depends on the boyfriend, I guess.
Yeah. But, yeah. It's a good show, though. It was a good show. But in the later years, it did get a little bit weird. They tried to... Like I said, they tried to use metaphor to get across real issues in real life, so... the characters graduate high school and then they go to college, and shit happens in college, and bad things happen, and someone has to drop out. And then they have to get a day job that's really, really shitty and makes them miserable. And then the show got really gross and started doing pseudo-rape plots, and it was really creepy.
Yeah.
Angel, on the other hand, took that in a very different direction. Like, Buffy kind of went in the direction of, let's all go to college, and Angel kind of went into the direction of, let's all go get a job. Basically, is the way it split. And Angel did it way better. Because, all the plots were more interesting, and there weren't that many corporate mandated things that they had to do to get through it. And they pulled off the metaphors a lot better, because it was all about doing the right thing and finding your way in the world when you don't have to
lose your way.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was great, even, actually. So, everyone should watch fucking Angel. At least, watch that. It's great.
I think I watched the first few episodes of that. It was pretty good.
It's great. So great. And, yeah.
I want to watch it just because that has the guy from Bones in it. Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of
When he
his
was
work.
younger, yeah. Next topic?
Sure.
Sure.
The first chapter is the next topic. So, how do you do a first chapter of a story?
Hook. You need to start with a hook. That's the first most important thing that you need to do. Have something in the very first line or the first paragraph that will get the reader's attention.
Okay, I apparently failed at that, but whatever.
Because that is literally like Casey, you have a fan base already. You're an established writer, so you don't have to worry too much about that as somebody else, somebody who's new to writing. But if you're trying to write something and you want it to get noticed, you have to make sure to capture the attention of the audience in some way, shape, or form.
Well, you don't necessarily have to make sure. I wouldn't put that much pressure on it.
You have to, people want, either you have a really good summary or you have a really good hook. You can have both, and that always helps, but you got to have at least one or the other. It is my opinion of the...
I'm gonna disagree slightly. I'm gonna say you don't necessarily need to have a good hook. You need to be competent. You need to write like you know how to write. Would be a nice start.
Even if you don't.
Functionally.
Especially
not necessarily artistically, but functionally.
Like,
know how grammar, punctuation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, if you want to write a long story, like if you want to do a one shot or anything, you don't necessarily need a hook or anything. But if you want to write a story that you intend to take for a very long time, I always find that getting a hook is good, or at least a very good summary, because you need people to want to pay attention to it. That's always been my personal opinion.
I feel like that's more of a thing that you want to do for books, like media you would purchase, because people don't want to make an actual investment in something and find out it's rubbish later. So you need to put your best foot forward so people will want to find out the rest of the story. But the thing is, with fan fiction, there is no opening investment beyond time. So as long as you know what you're doing and how to handle your story and how to describe things and how to do your grammar and punctuation right and get across what you're trying to get across, you're probably fine for most people. And you can just write your story comfortably knowing that people will give it a chance to get somewhere.
Well, it's best to make it sound enticing in the summary or even the first half of the first chapter or whatever. It's not actually that important. If the summary is interesting to the reader and it's well written, then usually people will just check it out.
Yeah. You need to capture interest, I feel, is the most important thing. In some way, shape, or form. You don't need to have I may have stressed hook a little bit too much, but you do need to you need to make them want to read the next chapter. And that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
Now, I think the most important thing is basically you need to make sure, above all that other stuff, they know at least where you're going, at least at the start. In the first chapter, you need to establish where your protagonist or whatever the plot's supposed to be going by the end of the first chapter.
Yeah. Here's something you don't do in the first chapter. Don't do quirky shit. Like, I'm going to give you a very specific example. The fic that I started over the weekend, The Astounding Naruto Fox. The thing about that story that I based it on, Fantastic Mr. Fox, is it has a limerick in it, like right at the beginning. And I thought, I'm going to do a straight send-up of that, and I'm going to do my own limerick in the same style. And as limericks go, it was pretty bad.
I didn't understand the point for it.
Huh?
When I read it, I didn't really understand why is there a limerick in here, because I didn't really really remember much about Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, it's a thing that's in the original book, and I included it because, hey, homage, direct send-up, yay, good stuff. Then I realized this is a limerick. Send-up or not, this is still a limerick that I've included in this fic. What the fuck am I doing? So, yeah, I deleted that.
I maintain it was a good idea. I like the shout-out, as it were, to the source material.
Yeah, but like I say, if you're trying to attract readers, doing weird, off-the-wall, quirky shit like that is probably a bad idea, because that kind of thing can turn people away really, really quickly.
Now, it was the first thing they saw?
It was the second paragraph.
Yeah, it was right there, right in your face.
It was like 4 lines down, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so probably don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not actually very good at this. I'm bad at summaries, I can't think of titles, but when it comes to starting the chapter, I always try to make it a impactful moment, I guess, in a sense. Like a character getting off a bus, dropping their duffel bag onto the ground, or somebody bursting into a room, or something like that.
That's really part of a hook. Is that it's
I guess,
really,
yeah. I guess it is.
If it's meant to gather attention, it doesn't have to be like a specific line. It could be going into the middle of a scene, starting with dialogue is kind of a little bit overused, but it's fine. It's actually okay. Actually, you're fine with that. Starting with a really cool sort of line that you think will capture the reader's attention, that's fine. You don't even have to do the hook in the first line necessarily. You can do it the first or second paragraph even. But if you're new to writing and you're new to writing on fanfiction and you really want to be noticed, a hook is one of the best ways, along with a good summary.
Yeah. Prologues count?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Prologues are the first chapter. You will not convince me otherwise. I don't care. They're chapter 1, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, you want to also set the tone, really, I guess, is the main thing.
Sort of. You get a bit of a free pass when it comes to tone in the prologue.
You do, but you can. It's a nice thing to do, because you might find that later on, near the end of your story, you will be referring back to the first chapter a lot. If because you want to make things come full circle sometimes.
If that's what you're going for, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to do that, but it's a nice little touch for some people who have been following your story for a long time.
I feel like we've missed a question from somebody somewhere, and they were basically asking what can turn you away in a summary.
Yeah,
or something
that's
like
what they said, yeah. I remember that.
I would like to say, very simply, grammar and spelling.
That's exactly my answer.
Yeah.
If you can't handle 200 characters without making a mistake, you have no hope for the rest of the story.
You should probably also capitalize the title. Just, it looks better.
Yeah.
It's something that's all lowercase. It doesn't look very professional. And I know that it's not really the point of fanfiction, but still, you're trying to sell the story to people.
Yeah, make sure the title is properly capitalized and everything. Don't include a period at the end of your title unless you're actually, because some people do that on accident, and I see that.
Even if the title is a sentence, don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Exclamation points, it depends. But
yeah, that can sometimes get past.
Don't make requests in your summary.
Yeah, do not.
Yeah, don't do that either. That says you have no ideas of your own. So you don't know where to go with the story.
And do not, try not to ask people, don't say please review.
Don't say please don't flame me, please review, please blah, blah, blah.
Don't say please anything. If you have to use an author's note, but your summary is sacred, don't violate it.
Also, if you have 200 characters and 80 of those characters are a string of pairings, I think maybe something's wrong.
Yeah.
If you really want to put pairings in there and you want people to know where your pairings, either let them figure it out because it'll be pretty easy, or right at the end of your first chapter.
Reveal them over time in the actual ANs in the story. There's really no reason to bloat your summary with them.
Or just put them in the fucking character section, because you can do that now.
If it's a low enough number of people, you can have 6 now?
Well, if you feel the need to put in 3 or 4 different pairing configurations, then no one cares.
Yeah.
There's the main character and who they're going to be paired with, and maybe a secondary character and who they're going to be paired with. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that is the case. Yeah, nobody really cares for side pairings for the most part. It's in the sense that, unless you hate them, in which case they're just a turn-off. So, awesome.
Yeah. So, for example, people will care who Naruto ends up with. People will care who Sasuke and probably Sakura end up with. No one cares who Iruka ends up with. No one cares. Even if it's Anko, no one cares.
Even if he's the main character, just as important as Naruto in that story, even then, that's kind of, bordering the line, I guess.
Unless he's the protagonist, don't do it.
So, yeah. I think that covers first chapters and summaries as a sort of double whammy.
Yeah, cool.
Yay.
Efficiency.
Woo.
Is that what we're calling it?
Question still. Alright. So, next question, and I feel like I should... Not next question, next topic, but I feel like I should get a quote that actually inspired this topic. But whatever. Next
I thought this one was a
topic
question.
is... Huh?
I thought this one was a question we turned into a topic.
The Shades of
I
Grey?
don't think so.
Yeah.
No, this was one I came up with a while ago.
Oh, alright then.
Alright, so Shades of Grey is this topic, I guess, that we're going to be doing now, and I guess I can start it. So, what this is talking about is graying up characters, showing characters, because people are morally gray a lot of the time. They're not pure black or white. There's no real white knights or dastardly villains most of the time. So, people can be best personified in Shades of Grey, and I was doing this in one of my stories recently when I was showing that, hey, you know, this good guy group, they're actually, they were kind of twisted. Because they were doing all these experiments and everything on people. They were doing it to save the world, but it was really messed up.
Mm.
And nobody really talks about it in the canon. They're just kind of like, oh, yeah, they did it. They just kind of move past it.
Yeah. I found the quote, by the way.
Mm.
It is from Angel, because it was a great show. And it basically goes like this. One character says, "There's a line, Lila, black and white, good and evil." Lila responds, "Funny thing about black and white. You mix it together and you get grey. And it doesn't matter how much white you try and put back in, you're never going to get anything but grey."
That's a good quote.
It is a good quote. That's why I picked it.
I would argue pure white doesn't exist.
Exactly. So, something that kind of bothers me now that I've realized that and seen the quote and think, oh yeah, that makes this thing a really stupid concept, is the whole grey character thing. So you see in a summary, grey Harry, for example, and that's supposed to mean something. It kind of doesn't at all.
We have given it meaning. The fandom has. You go into it knowing what to expect at that point. It's not really a title, rather, I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't really mean anything in the strictest sense, though, no.
No, I mean, Dark, they usually mean, yeah, he's just a fucking villain, and he is practically a cardboard cutout villain.
Yeah, no.
He's
Dark
gonna be
just
evil
means
for
he's
evil's
pathetic. Most of the time, it just means pathetic.
And Light usually means Saint will never do anything wrong, and everything he does is right, and
yeah, there's something wrong with the world.
Never makes mistakes or anything like that.
There's something wrong with the world when we think of people as just everybody's either a saint or a mass murderer, or just a pathetic loser in between.
Yeah, you'll find a vast majority of characters and their interpretations will be grey because of something.
Mm-hmm.
Without love, there can't be conflict, as it were. Everyone's got some greedy ambition. Everyone's got some desire that drives them.
Yeah, like, don't be afraid, like, everybody's got their own motives, everybody's got their own emotions behind it. Some people are kind of psychotic, but you know, some people are kind of not, and people are gray, so don't be afraid to characterize your villain, even. That's something that not a lot of people do, is just like, okay, here's the villain, they're evil, go fight them. You know, maybe every now and then, maybe just spend a little bit of time with your villain, trying to show they are evil, but they have their reasons.
Yeah, they have ways of, like, you can show their ways of thinking, why they're doing stuff, why they think they're doing something.
Because it's not like I suddenly wake up and I'm like, I want to destroy the world, and I don't have a compelling reason for it. I just do it when I want. Because if I do, then I am Kid Buu. And I'm just an insane monster with no motive other than, I destroy.
Yeah, that's the thing about insane characters. They weren't born crazy. Everyone has a reason for that. They had a bad day, as the Joker would say.
One bad day, yeah.
And even their actions themselves, they do them for a reason, even if it's just they enjoy it. It's the only joy they have left in life or whatever. That's still a motivation.
Yeah.
Kid Buu, or that form of Buu, is kind of a good example. It's just he's not really a character. He's an obstacle.
I mean, people like to characterize sociopaths and psychopaths as evil, like they're murderers or whatever. Sometimes it can happen, I suppose, but it's not that they were just always like that. Even as those specific, even cliché villains tend to be, they weren't always like that because someone tried to teach them right from wrong at some point in their lives. And even then, even for sociopaths and psychopaths, there has to be a moment when they stopped caring about that sort of stuff. So...
Trying to think of a way to word that, but yeah. Or some event, or they taught him wrong, or something to that effect.
Or a poor interpretation of what someone said. It's not quite what they meant, but... yeah. And it just kind of goes wrong and snowballs from there.
Yeah. While not a villain, Shiro from Fate Zero is a good example of that.
Mm-hmm.
He is...
He probably fits either sociopath
canon,
or psychopath.
right?
I can't... yeah, he fits one of those, but I don't know my medical terminology enough to guess which.
Yeah, I'm afraid not, no. I think it's sociopathy, but I'm not sure on that.
Mm.
He's gonna save the world.
And be a hero. Hero is the specific one, but what that entails is interesting.
Yeah. Like, heroes can be bad people. Just because you're saving the world doesn't mean that you have to like it.
Anybody
Likewise.
read the webcomic Goblins?
I did at one point, yes.
Well, in that one, there's a dwarf, it's supposedly, that is a pure white paladin. He goes around as eliminating all evil, and
This would be the fucking walking tank dude, yeah?
That'd be him, yeah. Metal door in his back, essentially. And he sees evil as an infection, and he will destroy anything that has come into contact with it. He will cleanse it, and it's not pretty. That's why I think pure light does not exist. Even that's gray. He's killing innocent people just because they were around something that was evil.
Thing is, anyone, even us, if they have an ambition, if they want to do something, they will have to step on someone else to do it. They will inconvenience someone else somehow to get what they want.
Yeah.
Ken getting his job meant someone else didn't get it. Me, I kind of have nothing, so I can't really
have to step on everybody.
But Zero getting his place in college probably meant someone else didn't.
I kind of have to step on everybody just to get out early at KFC. Yeah, I'll take that hose. I need to borrow that hose. I need it right now, yeah.
Yeah. If you score well on a test, it means someone else scored less well than you did.
Well, if you're on a curve, anyway, or that kind of grading system, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, and to answer your question from earlier, Shiro's mindset would basically be he's a psychopath.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough, then.
Yeah, sociopath would be, like, antisocial.
Sociopath doesn't care, like, generally at all about the rights of others. They don't give a fuck.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's just, like, his behavior, all of it revolves around saving people or as many people as he can. That's a continuous aspect of his personality. And he's going to go through with that no matter what. So that's a symptom of psychopathy or
At least
we're not doctors.
Yeah, at least in the canon route.
Yeah.
Like the first one. It's technically, I guess the Unlimited Blade Works one is also canon because it has anime. I don't know which one's canon. The original one, I guess.
Who knows?
Is psychopathy a word? Because that's what I was going to say.
It is a word.
Okay, well that's what it is.
Okay. I think we've pretty well covered Shades of Grey.
I believe so.
And we're running up on an hour and 40, so... Questions. What do you do if you lose interest in something? Paraphrase from... the Greek guy. Sorry, I can't use your name. I decided in the split second I don't want to use your name. You're the Greek guy. I love you, Greek guy.
Can you at least tell people what his name is, actually?
His name is Twilight D Dragon. He recommended some stuff. I mentioned it once, and he has transferred to the YouTube channel comments as the Greek guy. We all love you, Greek guy. Never change from being the Greek guy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I can go first on this one if you like.
Okay.
There's a series called Witch Hunter. It is a Korean manhwa, or manga, Korean manga.
Oh yeah, I know that. Oh man. Man. Backstory.
It's like 112 chapters, I believe, or volumes, or whatever.
Yeah.
And somewhere around chapter 40, it goes into the backstory of 3 side characters, and that lasts for like 40 chapters.
I know, it was horrible.
If you don't care about these characters, it's not fun to read. So I started skimming. What? That's what I always do when I lose interest in stuff. You just start skimming through.
Afterwards, those characters don't show up at all.
They don't. That's the thing. They don't show up again. Their conflict is never resolved or something. It's like you see the end of it and why they are as they are, and then they never appear again, aside from maybe exposition. Yeah.
So the question of what do you do if you lose interest in a series? Do you continue following it? What? My answer is I drop it.
Instantly, or do you give it a little bit?
If I Fairy Tail, I got bored of it, I dropped it. I have to be motivated enough to actually start reading it and open up the chapter. I need to have at least that minimum amount of motivation.
Yeah. I'm different. I read Bleach right the way up until now. And there was no, force requiring me to, until we started this, but I still would have kept reading anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had dropped until we started this.
I kept reading. I got bored by the time we were at the fucking Winter War bullshit when they were fighting Aizen and it was stupid. And I just kept reading anyway. And here we are.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you get me invested in something, it's kind of hard. It takes a considerable effort to make me stop.
Yeah.
Even if I don't read it anymore, I'm still going to keep track of it.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, Bleach admittedly had felt like it was ending for the past 3 arcs, so I always felt like, I'll keep reading because it's going to end soon, and I want to see how it ends. And it hasn't ended, so that kind of sucks. But Fairy Tail, on the other hand, does not feel like it's ending. It feels like it will never end at this point, and I stopped a while ago.
I think there's a correlation to dropping stuff. The further in you think you are, the harder it is to get out.
Yeah.
Sort of. I'm kind of a mix of Kenshis and Zeros. As I said, I do start skimming stuff. If I find something interesting, I will just pick it up again. I'll start reading from that point onward.
Yeah.
But if it's anime, I will give it 3 episodes from the point of when I got bored with it. And if it hasn't picked up by then,
I
you can go.
I kind of I try a little bit. There's a point. I have one point where I will immediately drop anything, and I try to keep it above there a little bit. But if I really lose interest in it, Fairy Tail, dropped it. I did just time travel BS. I'm just no, I'm not. I don't want to read it anymore. I'm bored. It bores me. I'm very kind of, I think I might actually have ADD, but, if I'm bored by something, I will not read it. If it's not fun for me, there's no point to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to admit there are events like that I will just drop stuff for. If it's really stupid enough, I just can't accept it. Also, for the 3 episodes thing, I realize I also have far more free time than most people do, so I assume if I ever got a job or something that I'd go 1 episode instead of 3.
Yeah. Tyler. You haven't said anything for a while.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say on most of the stuff.
He pretty much keeps interest in everything he's done, honestly. If he drops something, it's because he's beat it to the point of there's really not much left to do with it.
Actually,
whatever.
If I get bored of something, I try to pick up something new until that gets more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you switch your focus to something else, and then if it gets interesting again at some point in the future, then I'll slog through it and get back to the good stuff, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's what someone else. I should really keep track of what everyone says more often.
All right.
Really good thing. I think it was Slicer.
Do you actively keep up with stuff, Tyler? Check in on it every now and then, or just?
Yeah, actually.
All right, so I guess that's that question answered.
Yep. Next question. We're going to be very specific with this one, Hokkaido Master. Your question is probably a topic thing, and I'm pretty sure we've done it before.
We have.
At some point in the future, I am going to go back through all the episodes and see what we touched on and what we didn't really discuss very well, and I'm going to put those back in the spare topics list, and we're going to talk about them again in the future. Time travel is probably going to be one of them, but for right now, you asked a question that was very specific that I feel like we can answer. So, in Time Travel Fix, where a character goes back in time and he's with all the people that he knew when he was probably a kid. Let's be honest, a lot of fanfiction is about kids. Are the pairings weird when you have a mentally such and such an age character with much younger characters?
Specifically the one he was either dating or married to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is kind of the vampire syndrome, where you've got, like, the young kid vampire and the young kid. Like, is that actually a thing? Because there was a movie I saw, like, where they did that, and the thing is...
I hate to bring it back to Angel and Buffy again, but that was pretty much the driving force of the plot for the first 3 seasons.
Huh.
200-year-old vampire who was probably in his mid-20s when he died, and 16-year-old girl.
Yeah, kind of awkward.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it depends on the age difference, really, but if you start making moves on, like, an 8-year-old and you've got, like, the mindset of a 22-year-old, it's really weird.
That's really fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Actual moves? No. Just, like, trying to build up confidence or direct them in ways. That's odd, but, I mean, it's beneficial to that person, so, I don't know.
Trying to build a relationship with them because you're going to want to, in a few years, then that's pretty fucking skeevy.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, yeah.
Like, okay, I've time traveled back in time a few years, or like 10, 20 years. Like, say, Harry Potter time travels all the way back to the beginning of Hogwarts.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
It does.
Like, you're not just going to be like, oh man, now I can get all the chicks. All the 11-year-old chicks. No.
That's just
Nobody thinks like that.
Yeah.
And, when you get to, like, you're going to always be, like, those extra, like, 6 or 7 years old, mentally older than them.
Yeah, and more specific to the scenario of it being a spouse before they went back.
Mm-hmm.
The younger version is not going to be the same person anymore.
Yeah, no matter what you do, that is not going to be the same person. It's a completely different, they just have the same face.
So
they were the same person up until you started to interact with them again, because you're going to interact with them differently. They're going to develop differently into different people. So it's also strange in that way. I
feel like time travel fics are a great way to undo pairings more so than do pairings.
Yeah.
If anything, because
it's a weird concept to try and nail down.
Yeah.
It's
honestly,
also you can go. I'll go after you.
Yeah. Okay. I read one fanfic where Natsu went back like a year or two, in Fairy Tail. I don't think it was like, it wasn't that far ahead, but that was fine.
I feel that's a short enough time that they're essentially the same person without it. Well, no. If a lot of character development happens, then it kind of blurs the lines a bit, but
like once you start getting 5 years or more, you're getting really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
For me, it kind of just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say again. Christ. Thanks, Tyler.
I made you forget.
Great. Yay.
I can go
Glad
while
you're on
you
the
try to
podcast.
remember if you'd like. It's I have different rules for looping stories where a character is just repeating the same thing over and over again.
Right.
If they're like 4,000 years old, this just all goes out the window. Who cares anymore? I mean, you need to drop that at some point. It's squeaky, yes, but they'd go insane if they aren't already.
Yeah, I mean, time travel fics as a concept aren't something you can take particularly seriously in the first place. So thinking too hard about pairings and mental ages and stuff like that's probably not a good way to approach the story in the first place. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't know. It's kind of odd for a lot of the stuff. Like, both Harry and Naruto didn't have much of a childhood, so if they're, like, really immersing themselves in their inner child, then I guess it's not as weird. I'm not really sure.
Like, it depends how you do the time travel, too. Like, are they going to have the same sort of... Like, are they just going to have the knowledge, but yet still be strapped in their same, mindset, like, underdeveloped? Like, what are you trying to do there?
Instead of being that person, it's essentially just that kid having a dream, basically.
Yeah, that kid having the memories of his older self. Because then that's kind of fine.
Yeah. We're going to move on because we're closing rapidly on 2 hours and Zero needs to leave at some point soon. So, last question, and we're not really going to answer it because we kind of already did. What complaints about the ending of Naruto do you feel are valid? From Johnny on the Blogspot page, you asshole. Called you out on this last week, you dick.
You're really good at being...
You've gone from a gentle reminder to being malicious. What is wrong?
Yeah, but now we know that he is actually already on the YouTube comments, and he's still commenting on the Blogspot page.
I think that's just glorious.
What were you going to say, Tyler?
I said I forgot. Yeah.
But yeah, what complaints do we think are valid about Naruto? Well, if I could direct you to another show that we produce on the same day, but was released a couple of days earlier, so it was released on Tuesday for you guys, that would be the Naruto finale episode of Manga Reflux, where we review both Naruto chapters, also Bleach, but no one really cares that much about that.
Well, this week, though, it was just kind of a non-entity.
Yeah.
I mean...
The mustache.
Yeah, it was just kind of there before we got to the thing.
Jirobox mustache, though.
It's
It grew again.
Jirobox mustache about to face down with a beard of ages.
Yeah. The answer.
all you need to know.
Is that what Bleach chapters have turned into? Mustache intensifies?
Yes. Actually.
I can see the ending is they're going to fight a mustache the size of the planet.
Juhabak summoned a mustachioed meteor. He summoned 2 mustachioed meteors to rain down.
Start swallowing into the mic again.
Oh, yeah. Please don't.
Okay. Can we move on now, please?
Sure, right. Okay.
Yeah. If you want the complaints about Naruto, you can find them in the other show called Manga Reflux. Bleach 604 and Naruto Finale. That's the episode. There you go. It's right there. You can look at it. It's great, and it's got all of our complaints in it, and all of the things we thought were great, and that's pretty much the answer to your question. Thank you for letting me say that. Much appreciated.
Uh-huh.
And now we move on to recommendations. Anyone got one?
Yeah. This, as mentioned earlier in the podcast, the games we play is a Ruby fic. It's pretty much John's semblance is the gamer, the ability from the gamer manga. And his first quest, I suppose, is a delivery mission, and he essentially stumbles upon the Black trailer. It's in a warehouse instead of on a train, but that's what it is, basically. And things just kind of escalate from there. It's very good. It updates a lot. It's got a crap ton of Amaki's extra stuff. It's got a guy who draws comics about it. It's interesting.
Yeah, and it expands massively on the Ruby world, which has very little expansion of its own.
Oh yeah,
so
great world building. It's also a really good fic to read first. The first Ruby fic you'll read, because 1, it's really high quality, and 2, it does a good job of explaining the world. It's on a
lot of it's probably non-canon, but yes.
Well, yeah, it's important you watch the series so you know what's canon and what isn't. But yeah, it's on.
And if you want a world base, like something to expand on yourself, but you don't want to fucking have to expand everything yourself, then this is probably a good place to start, where you can get some good ideas.
It's a good idea for that to be your headcanon. Yes.
Oh, Greek guy, by the way. Did you see in the comments he mentioned that we were mentioned by the author of Seventh Horcrux on space battles.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and then I went to the thread, and they're like, you're talking about Night of the Sun afterwards. Didn't even know that was on space battles, too. I'm just like, yeah, so...
Yeah.
One last thing. It's 19 chapters are on fanfiction.net, so you can read it there under the games we play, Ruby section. But on Space Battles is where all of the other stuff is, and normally I would be hesitant to go on forums, but the guy who runs the threads and writes the story, he catalogs things very, very well. Everything is right there at the beginning of the thread. There's 4 of them now, because it's so big, I guess. It had to go into 4 separate threads, but they're all there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My recommendation. I said once in the YouTube comments, and I bet Greek Guy has been wondering about this for days now. It must have been eating away at him. Wow, everyone agrees with me. Okay.
Were you waiting for an answer?
I was expecting someone to drag me down or something, but no, everyone thinks...
I didn't want to drive you down, that was the problem.
I didn't even know where you were going with it, so I didn't know I was supposed to.
I was waiting for you to keep talking.
I know sold it.
So I said I love the Greek Guy, and I told him I would explain why in the podcast. So here's my explanation. Long time ago, when we talked about self-insert fics, I mentioned a certain specific fic that was particularly good because it treated the protagonist like a normal human being in a realm of super people. It apparently was called Sleeping with the Girls. And Mr. Greek Guy has actually reminded me of that, so now I can recommend that fic as my recommendation today. Thank you, Greek Guy. That is a brilliant example of a self-insert fic.
Now just wait for him to drive you in the ground in the comments.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't do that. He's the Greek guy.
Casey recommends Sleeping with the Girls.
I do. It's a 2-part story. I'm not even going to dignify it. It's basically random omnipotent bastard kind of scenario where the protagonist gets jumped from one anime setting to another, usually always in the bed of his favorite female character.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yes, and
I know what that is.
it rarely goes well for him.
Yeah, I wanted to read that. I forgot what it was.
In fact, it actually never goes well for him, and he gets progressively more injured as time goes on, as he deals with the most fucking out-there bullshit you could imagine.
Yeah, gonna stress that Sailor regular human in a superhuman world description.
Yeah, Sailor Moon, some series about fucking military or something, and then that one harem anime that was, I think it was Tenchi Muyo, maybe?
Oh yeah, I know what that is.
Oh,
man. Oh, gosh.
And fucking Oh My Goddess, and all sorts of stuff like that.
Wait, which one was the Oh My Goddess girl? Because if it's the main female, I
think it was the villain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Alright.
Yeah. And fucking Ranma, because Ranma.
Naturally.
I guess.
Whatever.
And it was shampoo in that one, if you're wondering.
Alright.
Yeah.
I kind of...
And it's a brilliant example of a self-insert fic, and I definitely recommend it.
I kind of have a recommendation too, sort of. It's not a fanfic, but it's something you should definitely check out when you get the chance. It's a light novel called Knights and Magic. It's basically, the synopsis is, a young man from Japan passes away in a traffic accident, and this guy was a major mech otaku. He, studied that crap. He was just, the biggest nerd when it came to mechs, and he was, also, really, really good at, coding. He was a programmer at his work. He was pretty top of the line there. So he dies and gets reincarnated into a world where, lo and behold, there are mechs.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the fantasy setting where none of that knowledge means anything.
It is a fantasy setting, but the mechs are sort of magic, and in that, magic is basically kind of like coding and creating scripts. So it's got a really kind of cool sort of magic system where it's just like he's a programmer and that's basically a mage.
I program fire.
So it's really kind of like his goal is to get into one of these mechs because he's like, I can optimize these things. And it doesn't do any of that weird sort of stuff you might see in other reincarnation stories where it's just like, oh, look, love interests at like young age, even though mentally they're older. It's more like, I'm just going to go around and do things. And it's kind of horrible that he got reincarnated as a short little Bishonen boy. Oh my gosh, he's just so tiny. He's like, I'm too small. I can't get into the mech until I'm older because I'm too short. This sucks.
What's it called?
It's Knights and Magic. I'll link it later. But it's Knight, '*S, and Magic.
So like RE Monster in that respect, where there's no love interest, it's just focus on the story and the setting.
Yeah.
Also with the bad punctuation in the fucking title, apparently.
Well, naturally. That seems to be a bit of a running theme.
Like
Knight is in soldier, or Knight is in darkness?
Knight, soldier.
Knight is in Knight, thank you.
That's really specific.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. But
okay.
Yeah, that's being translated by Sky the Wood Translations. They're the same people doing Overlord, which is really good, and also Altina the Sword Princess, which is really good with the main character as a strategist, which I always like.
Any other recommendations?
I have one. It's kind of a layup, though, and I'm not sure if it was recommended by someone else before, but just in case it hasn't.
Go for it.
Third Fangs from Fake Dreams.
Yes, Liza recommended it, and it's what got me into Fate Stay Night Fix, but yes, go ahead.
Okay, never mind. We already did.
No, go ahead.
All right.
We've had things before.
I ripped him last week for yet again with extra help, but I got to give him credit here, because this one's actually a straight-up story, and it's done pretty damn well. Pretty much, this starts, Fate Stay, as I said, after Kiritsugu adopts Shiro, he starts having dreams of events from the Fourth Grail War.
For the routes, essentially. The canon routes the game's take.
Fifth
Grail War, whatever. People know what I'm talking about, I hope. Anyway. Being that he sees all this stuff coming in advance, he realizes what it is after a while. He starts setting up things for Shiro after he died, for him to like take over and have plans set to deal with it after he dies. But being that, you know, butterfly effect and all that bullshit, basically, when the war starts, while Shiro is prepared, things don't go the way, you know, they're not canon. So he doesn't solve everything. It's actually pretty damn good. I recommend it. It's well done.
It is. And yeah, we do have doubles. I mean, the games we play is a double as well, because I recommended that a while ago.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
37 chapters.
I'm the one that told...
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
So, still going on.
It updated a few days ago?
Yeah, like on the October 3rd last week.
It's November.
Last month.
It's slow to update, and fair warning, it does start pretty slow. I mean, it's all very interesting, but the plot does go fairly slow.
It is a long time before they even get to the Grail War. There's a lot of setup,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Tyler, have you got anything? Or shall we...
Not really.
Okay.
If we have time, I do have another one, but I can save it for next week, if you'd like.
Save
it for next week. That way you have one.
It's good to have backup.
All right.
So, that's pretty much it, I guess. Holy crap, we're at 2 hours and 5. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to thank everybody for listening to Fandom Flux Podcast episode 60. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so through the blogspot page, the comments, though we'd rather you didn't, or through a profile on fanfiction.net, though we'd rather you didn't, or through the YouTube channel through the comments. Once again, I would like to thank everybody for listening to Fandom Flux Podcast episode 60. Bye now.
Stop talking about it.
See ya.
Bye.
Pay us on Patreon, and you can sit here awkwardly,
shut
too.
Yeah.